Real questions, real answers for real life. Come on in and pull up a chair. It's time to discuss the issues of the day here at 1850 Main Street.
Rob, Allen, and Dave are talking sports today. Why did Jontay Porter of the Toronto Raptors receive a lifetime ban from the NBA?
What about NBA player Jontay Porter? Or should I say former NBA player Jontay Porter? Jontay Porter played for the Toronto Raptors and recently received a lifetime ban from the National Basketball Association. So what do you have to do to receive a lifetime ban from the NBA? I mean, do you think, wheeling and dealing drugs?
Domestic violence, for sure.
Domestic violence?
No.
There would be a longer list if it was domestic violence.
So what did he do?
He's accused of not participating in essence, that rigged bets for people across the country that were placing wagers on bets on whether or not he would meet certain criteria. So they're called prop bets. And people wagered a large amount of money on a certain prop bet that would have yielded them. They wagered, I believe, $80,000, would have yielded them close to $1 million as long as he didn't hit this certain statistical stat lines. That's the thing. I knew. I see your face, Dave.
Did he miss the free throw? What are we talking about here?
He had to play a certain amount of minutes, shoot a certain amount of shots, score a certain amount of points. That's what a prop bet is. You're betting on a player. If there's a key player in a game, this obviously wouldn't be Jontay Porter, but if there's a key player in a game, they're over and under on points, maybe 28.5. So you bet whether or not you think they'll go over or under 28.5 points. If you pick correctly, you win. For Jontay Porter, someone wagered a large amount of money, and then all of a sudden he had an illness and didn't play that night. Therefore, whoever placed that bet won their bet. But they actually didn't win their bet because there was an irregularity in gambling, raised a red flag. People started looking into this happening with him, and apparently he was fixing some things.
I get how that could spark a lifetime ban. I mean, that does start to raise the credibility question in the sanctity of the sport. I'm not saying whether he should or shouldn't be banned for life, but I get why you would do it. The argument would be you have impeded on the sanctity of the game. That's the argument. But it's just weird.
I would argue the sanctity of the game went out the window when you start sleeping with gambling companies.
I would agree. Yes.
No, I'm sorry. I thought the sanctity of the game went out when they started in arenas flying around little drones that were dropping lottery tickets on kids' heads. I don't know. Maybe that could have been it. Maybe it started there.
Yeah, that could have been it as well. But I think it's interesting in a league that has taken gambling dollars, embraces gambling the way that the NBA and all the professional sports leagues do now.
They're all in it, right?
They're all.
Is there anybody not?
I think I believe they're all in it, and they all have a partner of some sort.
Is it possible that anybody doesn't know what a prop bet is now? Because I finally know. But if you had asked me 5 years ago, what's a prop bet? I mean, the stage is going to fall down. I mean, with the prop company doesn't show up. I don't. What are we talking about?
Yeah. And those are popular bets with people, and that's why folks get reeled in by that. It keeps the interest in the game or of a player. I mean, the things that you can wager on nowadays. It's become, I think, using air quotes. I know you're not supposed to on radio, but it's become famous in the Super Bowl with all the prop bets in the Super Bowl. Who's going to win the coin toss? How long's the anthem going to be? Who's going to score the first points?
How long the anthem is going to be?
I think you can bet on how long the anthem will be, on how long the notes from the first note to the last note, depending on who's singing.
Can you bet on how many bum notes the singer may or may not hit?
How many times will she be called pitchy? Okay, what the heck? So the prop bet is like all the off wacky non-main
you can
things
parlay them out. You can parlay them as well. Like how
do you parlay a prop bet?
Well, if you say, all right, Alan Duncan has to have over 73 yards rushing.
I got you.
And Dave Zanotti has to have over 52 yards receiving. We'll tie those things together, and
We can do it, Dave. I think we can do it.
I was kind of hoping he would remember outside linebacker that I'd make like 2 tackles in the game.
Yeah,
maybe.
well, we could do. I'm sure there's
I would
that as
stay
well.
on my feet for how many plays? Did you ever watch films, Dunk, where they counted how many times you got knocked off your feet? Was there anything worse than being knocked off your feet when you were playing football? Yeah, so that would be my prop bet.
I was cornerback, so letting someone get behind you, that's the unforgivable on cornerback.
Yep. Okay, so all right. So I'm sorry, Rob, what were we talking about? Prop bets. Okay, so you got a prop bet and you've got a situation where it can be anything, right? I mean, is it like a guy will come out with a haircut today or not? Like how short will his hair be?
That would be a little bit more controllable, but it can be. It's a lot of different things, and I think as you see technology continue to advance, you're going to see more and more of that live action, aspect of it. Many states have eliminated prop bets as it pertains to colleges and universities because of the amount of pressure that those, again, air quotes, student athletes were receiving for not performing up to par when someone wagered on them.
I got to ask you for another timeout. How do you, will you write a law that says you can't bet on what color shoes the guy's going to come out with or how long the socks the runners or the ladies will have on? What are you talking? I mean, how do you possibly regulate something like this? And if you're, I don't.
Well, they wrote the law so that you can only gamble on the teams that are participating. So if there's a college student, you can't wager whether or not he scores over 15
on an individual
points.
Player.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't do a prop bet on an individual player. You can do bets on teams because they didn't want those.
You could do a prop bet on how many people the team suits up in uniform that day. Because that'd be a team bet, right?
Well, yeah, but I don't think they'd do that because that would be too controllable and manipulative.
Will there be a fight in the tunnel?
You probably could. You probably could do a fight when I'm sure someone would jump onto.
I guess my point to be absurd is this is really stupid no matter how you cut it, isn't it?
It's crazy the way it's been embraced and the way that people jump into it. Yes, it's crazy.
Thanks for stopping by at 1850 Main Street. We're glad you're here. Do you want to learn more about what is really going on behind the scenes in public policy? Tune in to The Public Square on over 200 radio stations coast to coast. Or download the free Public Square mobile app from your app store. Just look for The Lamppost. Find out what America is really talking about at thepublicsquare.com.
Well, and if I could just do a quick mention of a little bit of the difference, if people are just now discovering 1850 as a broadcast, we're one of the few podcasts, if I may say that is not in bed with the gambling industry. So we actually have the ability to kind of speak freely about this. You're not going to see FanDuel scrolling across the bottom. So a lot of the people who are going to talk sports and talk about these issues are getting paid by these companies. So are they really at liberty to talk about this freely? We are, because they're not cutting a check for us. So I just want listeners to know that.
Should I be worrying about the theme from The Godfather playing behind me?
I mean, maybe. I kind of felt it start to creep in myself, but
as two guys with Italian background, Alan would say, "We're not speaking in any way disparaging to our family origins." The question is, let's face it, this is an industry that is doing billions and billions of dollars. I'm telling you right now, the leap for me between the horrors of human trafficking and the horrors of gambling enslavement are to me, that gap continues to narrow in regards to the atrocity against the human spirit. Now, we've taken what used to be one of the grandest, most beautiful expressions of what a free people knowing liberty do with their freedom, which is when you're free, your bills are paid, and your family's healthy, you know what you do? You go play games. C.S. Lewis said in The Weight of Glory, he said, I think it was in Weight of Glory, or it was in or it was in Mere Christianity. He said, we must play. People made in the image of God who get their lives in order and their priorities straight, begin to experience the blessings of God. You know what they do? They play. They play golf. They play basketball. They play hockey. They play baseball. They play games. They play bridge. All right.
Pickleball.
You are too young.
I'm playing
to even
tonight
know what
with my
that is.
pastor. I'm playing tonight with my pastor.
Oh my gosh. I think that makes pickleball go to my anti-bucket list. But anyhow,
it has really taken over the church. It certainly has.
Yeah, if there's any props on amount of serves I don't get in, you take the over.
All right. So this guy gets bounced, but let's go back to the guy getting bounced from the NBA. He got bounced because he didn't show up. What if it had been more sophisticated than that? That was like a big thing, right? The prop bet was set and he wasn't there. Well, what if he had been there? And what if he just happened to twist his ankle at the right moment?
Yeah.
And hobble off, and it was still the same thing. Would he been thrown out?
You're giving him ideas.
Yeah, or miss a free throw when no one's really kind of paying attention because people miss free throws all the time.
So the over-under on the pitcher on the mound is he's going to throw so many pitches, and like 3 short, he comes up with a hangnail and it's got to get pulled.
Yeah, there's all these issues, and I think the thing that makes it difficult is that everyone now knows, and some people say, well, that's transparency, that's clarity, it makes it better. No, it doesn't, because you're looking at another example was last fall, watching a dominant football performance by one team. They would have taken a knee. It was under a minute and a half to go. Any other scenario years ago, they would have taken a knee and got off the field. Game would have been over. Everyone would have been happy. They were up big, but they wanted to go up bigger. And I was watching and I was like, they're going to score here. And I know why they're going to score, because they're going to cover the line. And the reason they want to cover the line is because they need booster money. They need NIL money. Well, boosters, even if a booster's worth gazillions of dollars, all those boosters put a few hundred on the game now because they're doing it from their phone. Everybody wants to win and everybody wants to cover. So they ran it in and they scored. And I said, look, everybody's happy.
Do you guys think that Jontay Porter being suspended will strike fear into the hearts of other players who are thinking about this, whether it's in his sport or other sports?
Is he suspended or banned?
I'm sorry, banned. Yeah, banned.
He's done.
Do you think that's going to scare people to not do this?
I do. I think the problem's going to come in where you look at, and I'm not sure if this was Jontay Porter's situation or not. You know, you have some people that are coming from backgrounds and scenarios where they have a lot of people in their inner circle that maybe are looking to get out. And we've sold gambling for so long as your only ticket to success in some communities. And I think they're going to be like, come on, man, just a little bit, just help me out and do this for me, do this for me, do the one time. And I think what you're going to see is more and more stories end up like this.
All right, follow-up question. Do you think, let's say LeBron James or someone of that caliber in the league got caught doing the same thing? Do you think that he gets banned? Do you think he would have gotten banned? Or do you think it was to me, it seems very convenient that this was kind of a role player guy who actually has to take the fall for this and strike the fear into everybody's else's heart.
Yeah, he was a two-way guy. Let's look to Major League Baseball. Shohei Ohtani, his interpreter is under investigation for, air quotes for the third time, embezzling, allegedly, millions of dollars from him. Some people accuse Ohtani of being the one that's gambling. He's baseball's biggest star worldwide when you look at his presence across the world, and he's being accused of gambling. So let's look there and see what happens. I mean, I don't know. I find it interesting that he has that close connection to gambling. He's not been banned, but Trevor Bauer has been blackballed from the league for other issues, and he's been found not guilty, and his accusers have been proven liars, and no one will still touch him or sign him. So it maybe politics intertwines in all of this.
The conversations are just getting started. To get connected, check out 1850mainstreet.com. We don't data mine anyone or sell your information. Subscribe today so you don't miss a single conversation. We'll see you next time here at 1850 Main Street.